Alright guys, just cut this off. This is a package from Steel Pinnings. I covered his address up there, but he took the time to put a really cool logo on there. What do we got here? Oops, let me get that off camera. Made a few challenge locks for you. Give them a go. Thanks for the chance to whoop you. Hopefully I can get one of those pack locks. Enjoy the locks, Steel Pinnings. Alright, what do we got? That's odd. Alright, we got a little Corbin. But he's taken the time to cut a hole in that key and turn that into the actuator. Isn't that cool? And let's see. Backdoor Baby. Made, looks like in the day after New Year's, 18. It's kind of cool. Never seen that done before. And we got a devil face lock. With his mouth is holding a key. Probably shouldn't have pulled that out of there. Nacho Libre, made the first day of February. That's pretty tight. Going out to the core, that key kind of flops in there. We'll take a look at that guy. What do we got here? It is a half cylinder. I can probably gut this one without hurting myself or destroying anything. That'll be a first and quite refreshing. It does have the symbol on there for high security lock, but I've got a feeling this has been turned into a security lock. I mean, a challenge lock. Security, baby. I probably should know better than to try him. There we go. That ought to be fun on the Yale style keyway. And last but not least, and I've been holding this one because I saw it when it fell out of the box. I've seen a couple of these. It looks like he installed a second Bible on the side here, and maybe as many as 3 pins in the side of the lock, in addition to 6 pins up top probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Hard to say. He probably might have thrown an extra one in there for us. Anyway, those side pins probably have to be depressed. We'll figure that out later. Let's first, well, if it works. Guess not. Nope, he's not going to work. Maybe that side pin's just blocking the key. I'll try to figure that one out later. All right, let's go ahead and pick one. Let's pick this. Let's go start on the far left. Never seen an actuator like that. And see if we can get this dude open. Let me get him clamped up and let's get started. All right, guys, I got that clamped in there. I've drawn a couple of lines on the front here. We should be able to see if we get a fault set. That works. I am going to take, because of the curved keyway, paracentric, it kind of throws, got a little ski slope that will throw my pick into the bottom here. So I'm going to try to fill up that gutter with a filler tensioner. So just kind of block it so that way my pick won't slide down in there. I am going to try to use a, let's see, there's a 15,000. This one's from the practice kit, medium hook. Wow. Okay, there are some very strong springs in here. And there's a lot of crunching in there. All right, I'm going to use top of the keyway. If I can find a nice thick one, see if that'll work. You know what I think I will do? We don't often, I mean, this is how I would normally do this. I'm just going to take that tension wrench out. And because we have this little key on the back here, let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. That's the actuator. He's got that tied directly to the core, so it's a perfect tensioner. Why don't I just use that? I mean, it's not realistic, of course. If this was in a door, I obviously couldn't get at it. But then, of course, the actuator wouldn't be the key either. So let's just do this, and it'll keep the face of the lock a little more open so you can see. I am going to zoom in so you can see if there's a fault set here. And I think you can still just barely turn a little bit more. See how much tension I'm putting on the key back there to turn that core. I'm going to try to go clockwise. So let's see what we got here. All the way in. Let's try light tension. Let's see if we can find a binder. Nothing. All right. Heavy tension now, and I'm going to force something to bind. And I like to do that on the first pin. Sometimes it doesn't work on all of them. Okay, that was pin 2. Did a little click and a very slight turn of the core. It's pin 3. I'm about to break the pick. I'll leave him alone. Come back to him. Okay, that was 4. Got kind of a grinding noise out of him. Okay, that was pin 1. Again, I got a slight turn in the core, but these lines are still very, very close. I don't think it's if it's a fault set, it's not certainly not a very deep one. All right, now we have definitely a fault set. That was pin 4. Very slight fault set. And now the pin, the last pin is all the way on the bottom, which is not very realistic because a key would have to get under it. So I'm going to have to try to put my pick in the gutter, work him around the corner, and get under him. See if I can not screw this up. Okay, I got a crunch. Oh, there we go. Very nice fall set going now. Now let's just find the one that gives the feedback, and that tells us it's going to... Oh, that was pin 3. Very slight turn of the core. Another little click. Ah, there we go. That might be a fault set. That might be open. It looks like the actuator, move that piece of string, is actually hitting the vise here. So I'm not sure. Let me move all this junk out of the way. It may just be a very deep fault set, or it might be open. Really can't tell at this point. So, oh, come out of there, you. Oh, it is open. All right, there we go. Back door, baby. Found that back door. Get all this junk out of here. All right, I will need a stripped Phillips tip to get that stripped screw out of there. All right, let's go ahead and lock him up. Oh, thank goodness he's loose. All right, let's see if the key works. And I'll try not to pull the core out and really screw this up. All right, we are at the, let's see, we're at Bob Stout's tray. This is one he made out of bamboo for us. Okay, get the screws up there, get everything out of the way. You can lay this down. Okay, it wants to go clockwise. He doesn't, or counterclockwise. He does not want to go clockwise, which oddly is the direction that we picked him in. So you know it's a good lock. There's just something, there we go. Something hanging up, going clockwise. So maybe I got lucky. Try not to pull the core out of there. Oh, we are going to need that in there. What am I doing, Bill? You need to get your act together here. I'm so nervous about gutting lately after mangling that Euro lock not too long ago. All right, get the right follower. And of course, that doesn't want to go on there. Probably because I've been banging on it too much. Let's try this commercial one. All right, no weirdness, at least on first glance. Standard, standard, standard. Thought this was a challenge lock. Standard, 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 all standards. And nothing, totally stock. These better not be stock. Oh, there we go. Now we're looking at some homemade stuff. Homemade, well, you call it. It's kind of a hybrid between a spool and a serrated. It's a serrated with wide gaps. How about that? And the top of it has a little bit of a T element that could get stuck in a shear line. All right, number 2. Very nice. Look at that little T-pin guy, and he's got a very strong spring. It's almost like a bullet, a pointy, armor-piercing bullet with little serrations and a couple of grooves cut in him. In tank rounds, they call those grooves, well, it doesn't matter. Here we go. They call them hammer rings. All right, here is some weirdness. I'm going to put the lock down. And let's take a look at this guy. All right, there's a tiny little spring and a T-pin that went inside of him. If I can get him. I could never be a watchmaker. Oh, man. All right, let's try it with my fat fingers rather than using a tweezer. How in the world did you make this? All right. I'm trying to see how much he protrudes from the other end up there. Very cool. Pin in pin. A lot of room there to flop around, give you a very deep fault set. And also it's handy for launching as kind of a weapon. Luckily I found him. All right. Back to business. Let's start from the back and look at number 6. That way I don't have any surprises as I push that follower back in there. All right, it is an ASA pin, commercial. All right, I'm looking for a strong spring here somewhere because I felt something kicking back. Okay, there it is. He shot out of there with a little bit of force. It is a homemade mangle. That's a mangle pin. I don't know, it's got a little cross in the top of it. The sides have little tiny serrations, I think. And I'm looking at this through the camera lens. And then the bottom of it has a groove, but that's so far down inside of there, I doubt he would ever reach the shear line. I think it's a normal spring, but because of the length of that pin, that's probably the one that's given all the tremendous kickbacks. Either way, that was 5, not 4, Bill. And here comes 4. And he really wants to fly out of there too. And he also is about a yard long. Look at that. Looks like a skyscraper. All right, it is definitely little serrations on the thick parts and then divided by spool. So definitely a complex complex pin. Look at the top of it also. We got a little T-pin element to it. That also, because of the length, I think, of these 3, that probably would have been, because all these springs are the same except this guy. And let's see if I can find pin number 3. And I had him. He was the same as this guy. I don't know where he dropped. I just dropped him. But he was the same as these guys. He flew somewhere. I'm just not going to worry about it. Anyway, there's what we're looking at, guys. We got some very nice, all standards in the bottom. I'm not even going to bother to flip all of these guys around. But you know how they work. Pointy end down. The real beauty comes into the homemade pins. Homemade pin here. Homemade pin in 2. That's the bullet with the hammer rings. We had a very nice needle-like pin in pin with a spring element built into it. And then we have these little guys with hammer rings and a homemade mangle pin. And then a commercial ASA. So that's what we were going after. Let's go ahead and take a look here to see if he made any modifications to the top. And I don't see anything. Everything on the lock body and the lock Bible are completely stock. All the magic is right there. Anyway, guys, appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay legal. Still Pinnings. No pack lock for this one, but you got 3 more tries. Thanks.